Can you hear me well? Okay, hello everyone. My name is Krijstijan Lukačin, and I will talk about agilization in our company in last almost five years now. So first, I'm a little bit sorry because I did not fully prepare. This presentation was finished an hour ago, and this is the first version. And thank you, you are so kind. So let's start with a little bit of context first about me. And so I'm a father of 5. I'm Drupal evangelist since version 5. I'm also co-owner of Websolutions agency, hobbyist photographer, homebrewer, and owner of a floppy disk with the personal data still on. I can't read anymore. Sorry, father of 6. So this is from DrupalCon 2016. I think Jofi is somewhere around. We use kits for marketing purposes also, as you can see. No, this one is not mine. So yeah, so these are the Druid stickers down there. I didn't charge them yet for this kind of marketing, but it's okay. And a little bit about business. So my kind of official title is CIO. Nobody knows what that role does. But in general, as a business owner, I do the HR, CEO, DevOps. I do support product owners, or I kill them with ideas. I swing the mood around in the company, and I'm Agile wannabe coach just by doing that for many years now, and also a business developer in that role. Additional title close to Drupal is that I'm a vice president of Drupal Croatian Association. So this will be the least mathematical presentation, and because we have so many nice pictures, I will show a little bit about the company, a few of those, just to get a grasp about us and to show some pictures. You can see me there. And this is more recent one since yesterday. So regarding my apologies, I also have a decent amount of alcohol in my blood. This was like a few hours ago taken. And my favorite one since yesterday is this one. So let's get some introduction about Agile. How many of you know about Agile? I will ask some hands, probably most. How many of you work now in a company using some Agile methodology? Thank you. How many of you worked with Agile but doesn't use Agile anymore? Is there? I see one. So, yeah, so I will talk about our path from initial vision of being Agile to implementation that is still going on at the moment. I wrote that we are, I will say more, but services are not or are Agile friendly, but I will not talk about this in this presentation. So a little bit about the history of our of Agile in our company. I said, like, we are a Drupal-born company. We started officially in January 2014. It will be almost 5 years now. We are completely Drupal-focused, like 95% or 98% is Drupal, and we do love open source in general. So how did we start being Agile? Like after first 6 to 8 months of the company, we got the first, in the end, pretty huge project. It was, I think, more than 3,000 man days of development. And before that, like since the early start of the company, I didn't work Agile previous to this, and but I did listen to that. I read about it, and then before getting this project, I was going first to DrupalCamp, Portorož, and then on DrupalCon. I think it was Amsterdam the first year. And I listen a lot about project management, agilization, and it felt like the right way to go. And we did start it like with a general, like running an agency or companies, like doing the micromanagement of people and just assigning tasks to each individual person and taking care of everything. And we were also partially doing the work, partner and I myself, on the different things there. So when we got this large project, it was like, okay, we need to do it agile. So how we will do that? The easiest way to do that is just let's make a Kanban. So that's the agile way, you know. You make a Kanban, you make some columns there, you put some stickers on the Kanban, and we started having daily meetings around Kanban. It was maybe a little less pleasant than sitting around, but as we sit all days, it's okay to stand now and then. And we were standing by that Kanban, and we talked about the task and try to estimate something. And we felt like more and more we did that for a few weeks in the start, and feeling more and more stupid each day. It was just like it didn't go in any direction. It was like, I don't know, what are we doing here? It's like, if this is Agile, it will not work for us. It's impossible. And then we knew that education is needed. And I got on the internet. I was invented like 12, 13 years ago, so I had some search tools. Alta Vista was killed by Google was there. And I searched for some Agile education, and there was like, I contacted Agile Croatia, and they actually did presentations and workshops, and we had our first workshop. I don't have any photos, so I took the fake one from the first office. It was similar to this, but with few more people. And we had our like first Agile education. Since then, we've tried the business model canvas for project and for our own company. We tried retrospectives, a little more retrospectives, even more. We tried story mapping tool. We did road mapping on few occasions. We have a lot of daily meetups. This was from the GoSend project. The largest meetup was around 18 people. We had a Kanbans with focus groups, like in some point of time, the dailies took hour and a half, having like 16 people just talking about something. And then we already had an Agile coach here. That was also one, I think, important decision at that time for us, because we didn't know how to cope with such large project. So he introduced, you'll see there are like small colored stickers. Those 4 were the focus groups doing particular parts of the software, and only 1 out of 4 people was talking at a meeting. I don't know if someone worked with Agile for large teams. So, and we did hundreds of Kanbans, digital and analog, all kinds. This was short time for presentation, so I only took a few pictures out of archive. And what are conclusions from all this? It helps. In general, I can recall and I remember how we worked before, and the effort needed. And actually, when you get to something that's larger, it's very hard to do micromanagement. It's not easy. But there is a lot of problems there. And we kind of can't and we won't change it. It's the way the software is done this day for many different reasons. I will not go deeper into definitions of Agile and other things there. So let's talk about problems. And this will be the main part of my presentation, this session today. In science, if you prove what's not, you've made contribution. I do science every day, just proving what's not good. And let's change it from problems to challenges. It's like more optimistic view of the same issue. So I would like to put the VS Agile in context and why. I was on those first, I'm not sure if it was Amsterdam or Barcelona on DrupalCon. We started the new business, partner and myself, and then the idea is you want to educate yourself. You go to, that's the main reasons I love camps or cons. You go around and then you have multiple tracks and you can actually get some knowledge, you get some insights from other people. But you also must be critical and clever and see what are people talking about and what's happening. I was on the DrupalCon, it was, I think it was my first DrupalCon, and it was huge. It was, I don't know, 2,300 people doing Drupal or living for Drupal or something about it. And I went to the Agile session, project management, like wow. And the guy talking there was amazing. The implementation of Agile they did is like perfectly working. He has people working from home, teams doing perfect work. It was everything was perfect. There was dailies are great, everything works fine for them. It's like 25 people agents. It was, wow, I was amazed, like they did everything right. And I was listening to that and I had context from my company. I see that nothing's work for us. It's like everything is bad. So what's the problem? And I asked the question, so okay, you have 25 people, how large are your teams or how large are the projects you're doing? Because we had some smaller projects from, I don't know, 5 days, 10 days that can be done by single person, and like 3,000 man days project that was done by 18 developers. It's usually 2 persons doing up to 5 days a project. I said, okay. And we talk about Agile like for hour and a half, and I was listening and I was getting that knowledge, and then I said, okay, this is not the data, this is not the information that actually have a value for my company. So we do go for always for larger projects. That everyone wants to have a bigger, larger, more important projects, but we also do some smaller stuff because you need to fill the gaps, or there are many reasons to do so. You don't want to do so. There are companies that when they grow, they focus and they put the services on the side and they don't do services anymore, or they split. There are multiple ways to cope and to grow. But actually it's hard, even if you do the large project, the project has its own dynamics. You start small with discover or something, go up to the top main development phase, and then in the end you again go a little bit down. It's smaller teams or support or something like that. So we also done all kind of project types, from services only or support for our own projects or for projects for other companies, and to full scope projects since early discovery, selling and discovery, to over design to implementation. In general, since beginning, we have between 8 and I think maybe it was even 20 developers at the point of time. But we have fluctuation all the time. We try to onboard juniors. There's like many different reasons for that. Mostly of our developers are on-site. We had over the time few that are off-site. That brings its own challenges. So if I could name only one problem with Agile, everyone can think its own. I would say it's partial implementation, and that's something that, like, you can't or shouldn't drive the car only by going right. You can be successful if you have a bus route that goes only right, but actually it will not work for all in the broader scope of things. You shouldn't, but this one is debatable. Just eat cream on the cakes, or you can make your own example. You make love, but you stop half the way. That's same with Agile. If you do it just halfway, it's not Agile, it's something else. I need to go. So I will give you a few partial implementation examples, like bad grooming process. There are so many things to say for each of those. It's like, at the end of grooming, you actually don't know what the task is, or the task is not written well. You have dailies without real substance. You have dailies and people start talking about what they did, or try to, I don't know, justify or want to share something, and actually it's not meant for that. It should be a sync, it should be short. You have no backlog owners or bad backlogs. Happens constantly. On purpose, I didn't mention clients here, because they are involved in all these processes, and we can put clients in perspective for each of those, but we will not talk bad about our clients. You have bad or you don't have reviews at all. Reviews are done only by one person and not by each person there. You don't do the retrospectives, and then after 6 months you say, oh, there's something wrong, we should do a retrospective. And then you do one, and then again for 3 months you don't do anything. You maybe make an action plan for a retrospective. Okay, we need to fix these things, but then you don't do that for another 6 months, and then you have another retrospective, and then you do it again. Plannings are not prepared, etc., etc. These are like, but I would say this is the first one, the most important thing that, and I'm not paid for this one, but this is actually from the hall down there. It's one company here, and this is also like very important. Is the way of thinking in Agile. It's like, and in Drupal this is also pretty hard in Drupal sometimes, because even the mindset of developers is, why would I do this now and like have something close? Because I know I will have to redo it again and do this part. So let's just do it all together. You know, it's like, it's more natural. It will be less work. We'll do it only once. We will not repeat like in this kind of way. But we don't have time to explain this one. This is a very special one. So in short, partial implementation of Agile doesn't work. I mean, it works probably for all of us, but it doesn't work the way it's intended to work. And same applies for making love. And I know this as I'm doing this for almost 5 years now. I mean, Agile, wrong. And it's still an ongoing effort from my side. So the second thing I would point here is the knowledge. And I think we tackled that a little bit. We had, for the first project, we had an Agile coach, and we did have workshops and some kind of presentations, but I'm not sure if we've done that completely right yet. First thing I think is education. We are all doing Agile, but actually I think not many people, if you get, I don't know, Drupal 8 or new version of PHP Storm or something, you'll actually go much deeper in. You'll try to see what it's about. But for Agile, it's like, okay, I listened to some workshop, I listened to some presentation, I read a little bit about it, we are doing that in the company, and then it's like, phew, I don't have to, watch the same videos over again or see go deeper into that, or try to think what's behind it, why everyone is doing it. Yeah, sometimes people just don't. If you don't understand something, it's very hard to believe in that or implement that. It applies to everything. And also, I brought definitions, but it's like, yeah, to understanding of all the definitions or even knowing everything there is about Agile. Coaching, I don't know why I wrote this one here, but etc. Then the next thing I would like to point are real-life issues. And we are coping with this one a lot because we do have services and support, but we don't have a dedicated support or service team yet. And it's always, but there are many things here, there are like, you get urgent support requests, and this is different as the company grows, but still I did talk over the years with many companies and developers and business owners ranging from 5 to 500 people. And even with 100 people, I was asking, okay, how do you have some large project, you do 300, 500, 10,000 days project, and then you need to do some kind of support, and your team actually moves to another project. And who does the support? Does this, what's the logical thing? Because if you have a separate support team, for them it could be that they will need to find some bug or something. It will need 2, 3 times, 10 times the effort than actually for the developer or the team that developed the software. And even the large companies having 30 Agile teams, it's like flexible, maybe this team that actually did the software will have some buffer for them, or it's best for them to fix something they actually did, and not some supporting that's around. But every company is doing that a little bit differently. Everyone is searching the best way to do with all these issues. And you have, I don't know, I wrote some here, like, I don't know, sick leaves, time frames, sometimes client, and that's like, there is like, I would say maybe truth is the problem, because the client say, okay, I will go out on the December 1st, but I will not have content next year, but I want to go out on December, and you prepare everything to going live for December, and then in November there is no content coming, and you know you will not go live, or I don't know, there are many things that happens in real life that try to steer the boat, or there's always some disturbances, and it's not easy thing to do. Changes. All the change. I mean, even in when we had the first education and coach, and it was like, you see that over time, and this is also, it's hard because you always have scarce resources, and you have team and number of people that's in some size, and every time you change something, and you can see that there's a term in Agile called velocity, and you can actually see that if you're watching that a longer period of time. If you have like a team that's compact, that's doing a project, if project is a little bit longer, or a little maybe more longer, it will be, you can see the difference in velocity than for some smaller projects or something. And if you change any person in any team, you will see that actually it does a huge impact. It's like, and I said every change, if it's not like a blocker type, it's least critical by level of impact. And you can see that over time. It's for management or product owners to be very careful how to do this. I mean, you still want to search the best solution and the best way to work or to do, but you should be very careful about it. And then I said, for people, it's always complicated. Agile is people. There are so many layers of Agile that are like from social interaction, psychology, many things there. And yeah, the people are the base of Agile and everyone. And in our, like in IT, in development, in everyone should like learn more, because it's like also the way you talk to other people, the way you behave. It has that component there, you know. It's, I said, I don't know, I write here like, yeah, product owners. There are people that are like maybe not Agile by nature, but people like to have Agile is time boxed, and if you set the things, it's much easier for people to work. If you always have constant changes from outside, even developer will say, if you have context changes, if you need to do the 3 tasks, different tasks or different projects in one day, it's something that takes life energy from a developer, and you wanna avoid that as much as possible. So defining the roles and having a good product owner, Scrum Master, and having a good management is something that's important for Agile to be successful at all. So I will recap a little bit, and this is the most of what I wanted to talk today about, because I will not. We do have different things that we tried, and I wanted to write most of the things that we've done in the past 5 years. And this some main problems that I identified, like maybe top level overview, is like partial implementation, lack of knowledge, things, external factors that will rock the boat all the time, the impact of changes, and the people. I would like to try to wrap this with some Agile definitions that and things that I like. Is like one explanation was to a client. I think this one was from Michael from Amazing Labs. I'm not sure, maybe. That Agile, when you talk to clients about Agile and how you will develop for them, it's like it's you tell the clients don't, some stick more or less to that, but it could be hard. It is a challenge. That Agile is like a train, and once you start the project, you have just the stops, but you can't stop the train. It's okay, we will stop now here for a few months to see where the project goes or something like that. I would say it's like a very fine-tuned watch, and and I see that from early start. If you don't implement, or if you don't do it like wholly, and there are many companies doing like partial Agile. They maybe adapt, like that company having like 25 people doing projects with mostly 2 developers. I don't think it was longer than maybe a few weeks per project. Okay, it's a small landing page or something, and you can use partial things from Agile for that. But actually, it's not Agile. It's not development on larger teams, or something that people would enjoy in the longer run. And this is something I always use in everything, in development, in Agile, in many things. In even my favorite one, in religion, it's like to learn something is like driving bicycle. It's you get maybe the basics or something from books, but you actually need to do it each day. You need to practice. Without practice, you will never look. I don't know anyone that learned to drive the bicycle just by reading about it. And thank you very much. Any questions?
Questions for Kristijan?
Hi, nice speak. How do you sell your projects? Do you sell them agile or waterfall or fixed price or time and material or whatever?
Yeah, that was the first question I asked on the first conference ever I did. You sell, so it's selling is another topic, but yeah, you depending on the project, depending on the client, we try to sell. We try to.
Maybe, yeah, it's a different process. You're right. How do you implement a fixed price budget into an agile process?
Yeah, I always try to like swing the fixed budget to agile down the road if I need to sell the fixed budget. We do have we did fixed budget projects, but then we like usually, and you can explain that to client that we in fixed budget projects we want to be sure, and that's what's bad with the fixed budget, that we that will not be that we will not lose money doing that. So you always overestimate a little bit. You try to overestimate enough to get a project if you're interested in the project, or you estimate a lot if you're not interested in the project, and then you see how it goes. And then we internally always work agile. Externally, if we sell a fixed price project, you try to see if you will earn money in the end, and you have the classic things like change requests for multiple features. Then you need a lot more salesperson involved, like, okay, we now need to sell this for another maybe, I don't know, 5 man days or 10 hours or whatever, and you do those kind of things. And internally, we always try to run everything agile, and yeah, it's more like that. And for larger projects, for those clients, sometimes we sell discovery at fixed price. We can lose money on discovery. Sometimes I try not to do that, but it happens. For project we are currently doing, that's also I think more than 2,500 man days. We sell discovery for like I think it was 2,000 euros, and in the end we worked on discovery for I don't know few hundred hours altogether to get to start working on a project. And then we sold the first part of the project like to phase 1 for fixed price. I think we were in the budget. And then after the first phase, we sold Agile. So, that's real life, you know. All the clients want at least to have a budget or some kind of scope. And many of the problems came from that you don't get correct scope, or they don't know what they want to do, or, you know, everything that we do is... Thank you. Any other question?
How long is one iteration? What is the optimal duration of a sprint? And do you always set a clear and measurable goal, and how difficult it is?
Sorry, I didn't hear you well. The one was the duration of the sprint, and...
Yeah. What's the optimal duration? And do you always set measurable goal for the sprint?
Sorry, I don't hear from here.
Do you always...
Do you set a measurable goal for each sprint and how hard it is?
Yeah, I didn't wrote that one in the presentation, didn't I? So the duration of the sprints, yeah, I mean it seems like complicated at start, but actually it's simple. If you have longer term projects, in the end, for us 2 weeks is a great period. For shorter things and something that's less defined, I try to push 1 week, but if you want to have plannings and reviews and something in the week, it's like a lot of wasted time, but I'm still not sure if it's like maybe better, because actually you don't do, I mean, depends. Actually depends. If everything is undefined, you want to have shorter shorter sprints, regardless of what the developers think that it's waste of time, because the waste of time is if you do wrong things for additional week and as you don't know what you do. We also tried to do like checkpoints. You have 2 week sprints, but okay, we will define the half of the backlog or what will be done in the middle of the sprint, and all those things doesn't work perfectly. And yeah, it's very different if you have fixed team that does a product or a project that's like longer term, then everything is much more easier than if you have like we also have as an agency, we have teams that are doing multiple projects. That's the same as, I'm not sure how the studio present does, but I know that Amazy does the same thing. I was comparing ourselves to the similar companies in Europe or wider, and for example, they did the same thing that we did. They have teams, but they have variable projects, because if you are partially service, part project company, the one team, if there is like 6 to 8 people, it's too much to do just one project, and we are trying that a little bit and using our time and money to find the best possible solution for that. No more questions?
Mm-hmm. There is a question, right?
Yeah, good presentation if
Thank you very much.
in such a hurry. So first question is, do you still dedicate to a deadline even if the project is doing in an agile way? You sold it as agile, so like.
Yeah, please. Deadlines are important.
Even for the projects that are not defined.
Yeah,
because that was one of the problems.
The important thing about deadlines is that client says on the beginning of an agile project that deadline for phase 1, for example, one of our current projects is like, I don't know, 1st of August or 1st of September. Then as you come close to that date, and there's a lot of things missing from the client, and you easily kind of push things away like, oh, we don't have this, we don't have that. This is very important for us to be able to finish this on that deadline. And then he moves the deadline like 2 months later. Then he says, okay, we will not do the phase 1 because this is too complicated for us. We'll just go directly to phase 2. We are doing Agile all the way, but yeah, it becomes dynamic down the road. And then I heard on many presentations, and that's very important, we don't do it great with all the clients. We are trying, and depends on the product owners and people. It's like, actually you educate the client down the way. Some clients, there are, I don't know, we had maybe few clients that actually did something Agile before, but many of them didn't do Agile before, and then you educate them down the way. It's okay. And then they see, I mean, it's easy to see the logic if you explain Agile to someone, but even if they see the logic, it's very hard for them because they need to invest. It's their own money. They need to, pay for that, and they will see. It's similar as you like build a house. You have a budget. It's like this, and then you want a better floor, or you want a better whatever, and you want to move this wall or that wall, and the budget goes at least 20%.
And you're in credit after all.
Sorry?
After a while, you're in credit.
Yeah. Then you move out and buy another house later on because you messed this project completely.
Okay, so the second question is, do you have a buffer in sprints that could offset, for example, people problems or sick leave or something like that? So do you try to have some buffer? And then if the items from the sprint log are finished earlier, you pull in something from the backlog?
Yeah, I thought that we invented the buffer. Yeah, we do use a buffer a lot on many things, because like that says, okay, I will need you next week for maybe, I don't know, some amount of time, 2-3 days. They see we tried also to have like support things like on Kanban, not Scrum methodology, but using Kanban. So you have Scrum on main Kanban is like Scrum, and team is running Scrum, but you don't want to fill that up to the top. You fill it like, I don't know, 60-70%. that could be troubleshooting because of the many other things in Agile or estimation in the first place. And then you have like something that like support Kanban, then if you don't have anything to work like on a regular project or in Scrum, you can pull something from service or support Kanban that just first in, first out. But I don't think that actually works well. I have just a small set of data, so I couldn't apply machine learning yet on that one, but...
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any more questions for Kristijan?
Okay.
I would like to ask you,
Thank you very much.
Do you have a whole set of
sorry.
these, like stickers, emojis, based on you, or?
Yeah. Can you see the similarities?
Okay, thank you very much. We also have
Thank
a
you.
gift for you.
Thank you.
Get to anywhere, maybe we make a deal. Maybe together we can get somewhere. Any place is better. Starting from zero, got nothing to lose. Maybe we'll make